طيب, the author says, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy upon him. Asl. Asl, Saud here, that's for the word asl, which means origin, meaning the original text that's being explained. He says, وَأَمَّا الْحَرْفِ, as for the particle, فَيُعْرَفْ بِأَلَّا يَقْبَلَ شَيْئًا مِّن عَلَامَاتِ الْإِسْمِ وَالْفِعْلِ. It is identified by not accepting any of the signs of a nominal or a verb. Yani, it's identified by not being identified as a nominal or a verb. It's identified by not being identified as a nominal nor as a verb. That's its sign. Its sign is the lack of a sign. Some scholars said, like Jim, Ha, and Kha, those three letters. Jim, Ha, and Kha. They all look the same except the dots. So Jim, the sign of Jim is a dot from underneath, and the sign of Kha is a dot from atop. And as for the Ha, what's its sign? Its sign is that it's neither identified as a Jim or a Kha. Its sign is the lack of a sign. Nahu hal wabal, like hal. That's an example of a harf. That's a harf made of two letters. So harf here, you usually don't want to translate it as letter, though the word harf means letter. Here, harf means particle. This is a particle made of two letters, hal, and that's an interrogative particle, meaning for asking. So it doesn't have some word it translates into. It's not is or are or something like that. Wabal. Bal, that's another example of a harf, a particle. This one is a conjuncting particle. It's a conjunction. So it means to the effect of rather or instead. It has several usages. So you're going to see its context in the sentence and then translate it appropriately if you're translating. وَلَيْسَ مِنْهُ مَهْمَا, and the word mahma is not one of the particles. وَإِذْمَا, nor the word إِذْمَا, it's not one of the particles. Why is he saying that here? That's a sign that there's a difference in opinion about that, or else there's no need to mention it. Bal mal mastariyah, rather, there's bal. Rather, ma al mastariyah is a particle. Mal mastariyah, ma al mastariyah. I'm not going to translate that now. We'll see it when we come to it, inshallah. This ma is one of them. Just for now, it's a ma. There's many mas in Arabic. This is one of those. Which ma is this? This is mal mastariyah, the mastari ma, the ma that renders, the ma. We'll see it when we get to it. وَلَمَّا الرَّابِطَةُ فِي الْأَصَحِ, and also lamma, the rabita, the connector. Lamma, the connector, the rabita. That's also a particle, fil asah, according to what's most accurate. Disclaimer, this is very nice review for me now. One of the reasons why I like to go over so many books with you, brothers and sisters, because that's my way of reviewing those books. So, mashallah. We get the mutual benefit. Ash-sharhu. Sheen. Ash-sharh. The explanation. لما فرغت من القول في الاسم والفعل. When I finished discussing the nominal and the verb, شرعت في ذكر الحرف. I commenced to mention the particle. فذكرت أنه يعرف بألا يقبل شيئا من علامات الاسم. And I mentioned that it's known, it's identified, that particle, by not accepting any of the identifiers of the nominal, ولا من علامات الفعل, nor any of the identifiers of the verb. You can see there, I had to put a correction in my copy. I had to add the word min. So, for my own personal system, when I'm taking a book, I'll usually insert these additions that got dropped out in the ink. That's the same color as the document. So I'm not going to suffice with pencil or red pen or something like that. And then for me, then I will add this little arrow there. So that's how I read my own stuff. If you're taking books, then you want to develop a system for yourself that works. Several things you want to keep in mind, such as how are you going to track your additions? Also, how are you going to keep up putting the harakat? You're going to put every single harakah while somebody's reading and then keep telling them repeat, 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 repeat? No, don't do that. You need to develop a system for yourself. Like if it's a fatha, don't put anything there. Just keep going. Then you know if the space is blank, it's a fatha, for example. You develop a system for yourself. And then you might, if you have enough codes and things in your own books, you might even want to develop a key for yourself. Nahwu hal wa bal, such as hal and bal. We discussed them now. فإنهما لا يقبلان شيئا من علامات الأسماء. For indeed, neither of those two accept any of the identifiers of the nominal. ولا شيئا من علامات الأفعال, nor any of the identifiers of the verb. فانتفى أن يكون اسمين وأن يكونا فعلين. And so it is then excluded by process of elimination that those two words would be nominals or that they would be verbs. وتعين أن يكونا حرفين. And it became the definitive answer by process of elimination that these are two particles. إذ ليس لنا إلا ثلاثة أقسام, since we don't have but three parts of speech. وقد انتفى اثنان, two of those have been excluded. فتعين الثالث, and so the third is all that's left. It's the only option left. ولما كان من الحروف ما اختلف فيه, and since there were particles differed about, هل هو حرف أم اسم, is it a particle or is it a nominal? And look how he limited the difference. Looks like the verb is not here in this fight, in this tug of war. This is between the harf and the ism. Since there were particles differed about, are they particles or nominals? Nasastu alayh, then I documented that. I brought it up. كما فعلت في الفعل الماضي وفعل الأمر, just like I did about the past tense verb when we discussed words that they differed. Are they verbs or are they nominals or are they particles? And just like we talked about the fi'l amr, the command verb, وَهُوَ أَرْبَعَةٌ, and those particles that are the subject of difference in opinion are four, or those words that are subject to difference in this issue are four. إذما ومهما وما المصدرية ولما الرابطة. إذما and mahma and ma, the masdari ma, and lamma, the connector, lamma rabita. Idma means if. Mahma means whatever. Ma, the masdari ma, we'll see about that. And lamma, the rabita, we'll see about that one too. فَأَمَّا إِذْمَا. Now concerning إِذْمَا. فَاخْتَلَفَ فِيهِ سِيبَوَيْهِ وَغَيْرُهُ. Imam Sibawayh differed with others about it. فَقَالَ سِيبَوَيْهِ إِنَّهَا حَرْفٌ. Sibawayh said, indeed, it is a particle. بِمَنْزِلَةِ إِن الشَّرْطِيَّةِ. It has the meaning of if. The conditional particle. فَإِذَا قُلْتَ. Therefore, if you were to say, إِذْ مَا تَقُمْ أَقُمْ, فَمَعْنَاهُ إِن تَقُمْ أَقُمْ. إِذْ مَا تَقُمْ أَقُمْ therefore means if. إِذْ مَا, if. تَقُمْ, you stand. أَقُمْ, I stand. If you stand, I stand. وَقَالَ الْمُبَرِّدُ وابن السراج والفارسي إنها ظرف زمان. But these three Imams, Al-Mubarrid and Ibn al-Sarraj and Al-Farisi, said, no, it's not a particle. It's a prepositional nominal. A prepositional nominal. Zarf. It's a time zarf. It's a time, it's an envelope of time. So it's a nominal. So it means when, basically. When you stand, I stand. And it's a nominal. Meaning at the time you stand, I stand. So it's slightly different there. If you say if, that's a condition. Yani, it definitely is linked to time though. The condition has the meaning of time in it. But it's a particle. And then the other one, if it's zarf, that means it's a nominal for time. But it still has the meaning of condition in it though. So you see that's how they differed. With a very slight difference between them. It's like one side saying it's a condition, but it has the meaning of time. The other side saying, no, it's a time, but it has meaning of condition. So those three said, إِنَّهَا ظَرْفُ زَمَانٍ. It is indeed, it's a pocket of time. That's a pocket of time. وَإِنَّ الْمَعْنَى فِي الْمِثَالِ مَتَى تَقُمْ أَقُمْ. Therefore, the meaning of the example is when you stand, I stand. واحتجوا بأنها قبل دخول ما كانت اسما والأصل عدم التغيير وأجيب بأن التغيير قد تحقق قطعا بدليل أنها كانت للماضي فصارت للمستقبل فدل على أنها نزع منها ذلك المعنى البتة وفي هذا الجواب نظر لا يحتمله هذا المختصر. So he discusses here their debate, meaning the crux, as they say, of the debate here. واحتجوا بأنها قبل دخول ما كانت اسما. Their argument was that this word isma, before ma came, it was just is, and for sure is a nominal. We don't have a difference there. And as far as I know, If is a nominal. I never learned or heard anyone said if is not a nominal. Even here, he's not saying otherwise. So they argued that, okay, we have the word if ma, and before the word ma came, it was just if, and if is a nominal. You hear that word in the Quran a lot. If qala, for example. And yawma if, that's the same if. When, the day when. So, wal aslu adamu taghyir, and the origin is that a thing is, yani, not changed. It is as it is. You take a thing as it is, yani. So they said, therefore, when ma came, it didn't stop being a ism. It stayed an ism. Didn't become a harf because ma came. Wa ujib, and the answer, بأن التغيير قد تحقق قطعا, is that, but it did change. It really did change, though. You're saying the origin is that it didn't change, but it did change. بدليل أنها كانت للماضي. And what proves that it changed is that it was originally for the past. The meaning if, when, was for the past. فصارت للمستقبل, but when you say ma, it becomes for the future. So you say if ma, when, meaning in the future, meaning if, meaning didn't happen yet. فدل على أنها نزع منها ذلك المعنى البتة. So this proves that meaning is taken altogether out. Yani, it did change. It really changed. We brought ma and we changed its meaning. So it has been taken out of its original station, its original meaning altogether. Al-batta. So that's the argument there, back and forth between those two sides. And what did Ibn Hisham say? He's the judge here. He's the ref here. He says, وَفِي هَذَا الْجَوَابِ نَظَرٌ, but the answer of Sibawayh is disputable. لَا يَحْتَمِلُهُ هَذَا الْمُخْتَصَرُ, but explaining it is not befitting of this summarized book. So he's saying, خلاص, Sibawayh doesn't have the stronger argument. We're not going to talk about it now. وَأَمَّا مَهْمَا, now concerning mahma, whatever. فزعم الجمهور أنها ثم. فزعم الجمهور أنها ثم. The majority have claimed that it's a nominal. Claims can be true or false. زعم means قال, but زعم could have the meaning of being suspect, doubtful, or the like. But it doesn't have to. So the majority claimed that mahma is nominal. And when you're talking about a debate, when you're presenting something as a debate or presenting it objectively, then you can say claim. I claim, you claim. We're speaking objectively now, just whether we want to investigate if it's a fact or not. فَزَعَمَ الْجُمْهُورُ أَنَّهَا ثُمْ. So the majority claim that it's a nominal, mahma. بِدَلِيلِ قَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى, and that's proven by the saying of God Almighty, مَهْمَا تَأْتِنَا بِهِ مِنْ آيَةٍ, in which he told us about what the Copts, C-O-P-T-S, the Egyptians, said to Moses. Whatever sign you bring to us, mahma, whatever, ta'tina, you come, bihi, with it, you come to us with it, ta'tina, you come to us with it, whatever you come to us with it, mahma ta'tina bihi, whatever you come to us with it, mean ayah, of a sign, yani any miracle that you do, any sign that you bring, they said, it's magic. To us, it's nothing but sorcery. فَالْهَاءُ مِنْ بِهِ عَائِدَةٌ عَلَيْهَا. The proof in the ayah for them that mahma is a nominal is that This hat that we have circled here already, this hat, which is the pronoun, the damir, what's that it? It's the whatever. The it is the whatever. Whatever you come to us with it of a sign, then to us it's just magic. So they said, فَالْهَاءُ مِنْ بِهِ عَائِدَةٌ عَلَيْهَا. It means this word mahma is the antecedent for the pronoun, the antecedent. The antecedent for the pronoun, that means what the pronoun refers back to. وَالضَّمِيرُ لَا يَعُودُ إِلَّا عَلَى الْأَسْمَاءِ. And a pronoun does not return back to anything but a nominal. An antecedent for a pronoun would not be anything but a nominal. وَزَعَمَ السُّهَيْلِيُّ وَابْنُ يَسْعُونَ أَنَّهَا حَرْفٌ. And As-Suhaili and Ibn Yas'un claimed that mahma is a particle. وَاسْتَدَلَّ عَلَى ذَلِكَ بِقَوْلِ زُهَيْرٍ. And their evidence for that was the saying of the poet Zuhair. وَمَهْمَا تَكُنْ عِنْدَ امْرِئٍ مِّنْ خَلِيقَةٍ وَإِنْ خَالَهَا تَخْفَى عَلَى النَّاسِ تُعْلَمِي. I don't know what that means. The meaning of this line of poetry doesn't appear to me without me thinking. Ibn Hisham says, وَتَقْرِيرُ الدَّلِيلِ أَنَّهُمَا أَعْرَبَا خَلِيقَةٍ إِسْمًا لِتَكُنْ وَمِنْ زَائِدَةٍ فتعين خلو الفعل من الضمير وكون مهما لا موضع لها من الإعراب إذ لا يليق بها هاهنا لو كان لها محل إلا أن تكون مبتدأ والابتداء هنا متعذر لعدم رابط يربط الجملة الواقعة خبرا له وإذا ثبت ألا موضع لها من الإعراب تعين كونها حرفا. يعني, some of them said it's a particle, and they use this line of poetry as evidence, and they gave their argument. That's the weaker saying, though. The way he started, which is that mahma is a nominal, and the proof that it's a nominal is that it's an antecedent. We found it an antecedent for a pronoun. That's strong proof. وَالتَّحْقِيقُ أَنَّ اسْمَ تَكُنْ مُسْتَتِرٌ وَمِنْ خَلِيقَةٍ تفسير لمهما كما أن من آية تفسير لما في قوله تعالى ما ننسخ من آية ومهما مبتدأ والجملة خبر. And now he's saying, but really that line of poetry, in this line of poetry, the word mahma is the subject of the sentence. It's a nominal. Those two are mistaken. That's an extreme paraphrase. Now, وَأَمَّا مَا الْمَصْدَرِيَّةِ. Now, concerning ma, the masdari, ma. فهي التي تسبق مع ما بعدها بمصدر. It is the one that transforms with what is after it into a masdar. This is a very important case here. All right. So even before I give his example, let's see what he's talking about. All right. Now, you know you have something called masdar. You have maldi verb. Let's say daraba. Daraba. You have mudari, present future verb. Yadribu. And then you have the source of the verb, darba, darban. Darban. Okay. So, first of all, this is an important rule here. You're going to need it for all of your Arabic studies. The masdar comes third when you go through the forms of a word. That's standard. You start with the past tense, then you go to the present, future tense, then you go to the masdar. Masdar means the source. So you say, like I wrote here, daraba yadribu darba. So daraba, he hit. Yadribu, he hits. Darban, a hit. And like that. So you would say, for example, Akala, he ate. Yakulu, he eats. Akla, an eating. Aklan. So akl is the masdar. You say kataba, he wrote. Yaktubu, he writes. Kitabatan, a writing. So that's masdar. Kallama, he spoke. Yukallimu, he speaks. Taklima, a speech. Okay. So you know it's the masdar. If you ever want to know a masdar, that's what you do. Do the maldi, do the mudari, and then go to the third one. That's your masdar. If you can't figure it, then look in a dictionary or ask, for example. You say qara'a, he read. Yaqra'u, he reads. So what goes there? Can tell us. Anyone? Qara'a, he read. Yaqra'u, he reads. What's the masdar?
قراءة.
قراءة هكذا. So if you know it, then you're going to know it. All right. So you know what's masdar. Now, there's some particles in Arabic that with a verb, the particle with a verb, the two of those together, the particle with the verb, the two of them together have the meaning of the masdar. They have the meaning of the masdar. For example, you say, Uridu, I want. Uridu, I want. And Aqra. This is going to come back, so you need to have this. Inshallah. Uridu an Aqra. I want to read. Uridu, I want. And to Aqra, read. But N is harf masdari, like ma. It's a masdari particle. That means N with the verb after it together are like the masdar. They have the meaning of the masdar. So the meaning then is Uridul qira'ah. Uridul qira'ah. I want the reading. I want the reading. Uridul qira'ah. Uridu an aqra'. I want to read. Uridul qira'ah. It means I want to read. So that really works in English too. So you could say, let's say, I like to eat. That's like saying, I like eating. So if eating was the masdar and eat was the verb, so two, that's the harf masdari. That's harf masdari. It represents the harf masdari. Yani. So there's several of those in Arabic. Huroof masdariyah. Masdari particles, masdar particles. They're like two in English, but they have different meanings too. Besides being masdar particles, they still have their own, some of them, some meaning, some sense. They give some sense yani, of meaning. So is that clear so far? Is there any question? So what's Ibn Hisham saying here? He says, وَأَمَّا مَا الْمَصْدَرِيَّةِ. Now concerning ma, that's the masdari ma, and there's many ma's in Arabic. فَهِيَ الَّتِي تُثْبَكُ مَعَ مَا بَعْدَهَا بِمَصْدَرٍ. That's the one that transforms with what is after it, with the verb after it, into a masdar, meaning in meaning. It transforms with the verb after it into a masdar, a source, or a gerund if you want. Nahu qawlihi ta'ala, like the saying of Allah ta'ala, waddu ma anittum, ay waddu anatakum. So, waddu ma anittum, it means waddu, they loved, those kuffar, they loved ma anittum. So, let's look here. When you're translating, you're looking at it from the outside in. Yani, outside means Arabic's not your first language. You're looking at it from the outside, you come across ma. Probably the first thing that's going to cross your mind is what? Uh, so what do they love? So it looks like it's saying they loved what afflicted you. What do ma'anitum? They loved what afflicted you. Those kuffar loved what befell you, Muslims. What do anatakum? Meaning they love your affliction. They love your affliction. They love your calamity. So take it back to the source of the verb. وَقَوْلُ الشَّاعِرِ. Also, another reference is when the poet said, يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ مَا ذَهَبَ اللَّيَالِي وَكَانَ ذَهَابُهُنَّ لَهُ ذَهَابًا. يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ ذَهَابُ اللَّيَالِي. Okay. It's a good example, too, for people like ourselves looking from the outside in, to soak in this ma al-masdariyah. And also, let that be for you a door for all the huroof masdariyah. Like N. You've just learned today 2 of them. There are 5 of them. You learned N and you learned ma. Don't ask for the rest now, though. Let them come when they come, inshallah. Now take this example he gave us here. يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ مَا ذَهَبَ اللَّيَالِي. So looks like to someone like me that it's saying it pleases the person. يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ. It pleases the person. What? مَا ذَهَبَ اللَّيَالِي. So that looks like what? So that's what's pleasing the person. What? ذَهَبَ اللَّيَالِي. The nights left. That doesn't make sense though. Not what the nights left behind means the nights left themselves. The nights went away. It pleases the person what the nights went away. That doesn't make sense. So ma here doesn't mean what. That's why this is a good example here. So that you can look at that and you have to not look at it as what. The thing about mal mastariya in so many cases, it's still going to look like what. Or maybe even possibly be susceptible to that interpretation. You could take it one way as ma, that means what, or you could take it as ma, that's mal mastariyah. Here's one, what's not going to work. So that's a good example for learning experience. يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ مَا ذَهَبَ اللَّيَالِي. So what it means is يَسُرُّ الْمَرْءَ ذَهَابُ اللَّيَالِي. It pleases the person, what? The going away of the nights. The going away of the nights pleases the person. So, ma dhahaba together means dhahab, which is the masdar. You say dhahaba, yadhabu, dhahaban. Dhahaba, he went. Yadhabu, he goes. Dhahaban, a going. He says, وَقَدْ اخْتُلِفَ فِيهَا. There has been difference in opinion about this ma. فَذَهَبَ سِيبَوَيْهِ إِلَىٰ أَنَّهَا حَرْفٌ بِمَنْزِلَةِ أَنِ الْمَصْدَرِيَّةِ. Sibawayh went to the position that it is a particle with the meaning of an, yani 2, the masdari an. وذهب الأخفش وابن السراج إلى أنها اسم بمعنى الذي. And Al-Akhfash and Ibn Sarraj went to the position that ma is a nominal. That means what? Or that which. واقع على ما لا يعقل. And it would be applying to something that's devoid of intellect. So what, as opposed to who? وَهُوَ الْحَدَث. And what it would be in this case is the occurrence itself. The occurrence itself. وَالْمَعْنَى وَدُّ الَّذِي عَنِتُّمُوهُ. Then the meaning according to this way is that they loved that which afflicted you. They loved ma anattum, that which alladhi, that which afflicted you. أي العنة التي anitumuh, meaning what I just said. ويسر المرء الذي ذهبه الليالي أي الذهاب الذي ذهبه الليالي. And the other statement, according to them, would mean it pleases the person. Yani in Arabic, it's just, when I translate, it's not going to show up. يسر المرء الذي ذهبه الليالي أي الذهاب الذي ذهبه الليالي. So the way the Arabic is able to put this pronoun here on ذهب doesn't really show up in English. ويرد على هذا القول أنه لم يسمع أعجبني ما قمته وما قعدته. So anyway, which of these two sayings is the stronger saying? Ibn Hisham is saying that which makes this second opinion disputable. Yaridu alayhi. Yaridu alayhi, what comes upon it, yani what makes it disputable, they say sometimes about an argument, fihi nazar. It needs some looking into. That means it's disputable. Or they say sometimes, yaridu alayhi, that means there's an answer. There's an answer that can come for this. وَيَرِدُ عَلَى هَذَا الْقَوْلِ, and an answer that comes for this second saying here, that it's not a particle, أَنَّهُ لَمْ يُسْمَعْ, is that it's not heard in Arabic. It wasn't heard in Arabic. Anyone saying, أَعْجَبَنِي مَا قُمْتَهُ أَعْجَبَنِي مَا قُمْتَهُ وَمَا قَعَدْتَهُ, to mean, I liked your sitting. أَعْجَبَنِي أَن قُمْتَ, that's clear. أَعْجَبَنِي أَن قُمْتَ, it impresses me that you stood. That's clear. That would mean أَعْجَبَنِي قِيَامُكَ, it pleases me that you stood. أَعْجَبَنِي أَن قُمْتَ أي أَعْجَبَنِي قِيَامُكَ. Okay, but it wasn't heard in Arabic anyone saying أَعْجَبَنِي مَا قُمْتَهُ, and it means أَعْجَبَنِي قِيَامُكَ. So Ibn Hisham saying, if it were valid, if what they're saying was correct, then you should be able to say this. If what they're saying is correct, you should be able to say this. He says, وَلَوْ صَحَّ مَا ذُكِرَ لَجَازَ ذَلِكَ. That's what I just said. Had what they said been correct, then this would have been valid. Somebody would have said that, for example, or you'd say it and it doesn't sound strange. لأن الأصل أن العائد يكون مذكورا لا محذوفا. And the problem here is that what this pronoun that I couldn't translate for you, what it refers to, what it goes back to, they're implying it. They're giving it an implication. They're intending something that they're not saying. And then they put a pronoun that goes back to something they're not saying. وَالْأَصْلُ لِأَنَّ الْأَصْلَ أَنَّ الْعَائِدَ يَكُونُ مَذْكُورًا لَا مَحْذُوفًا. But the origin is that whatever the pronoun refers back to should have been said somewhere. You could possibly leave out something, mention a pronoun without having already said what it refers to, but usually you're not going to. So, therefore, that's a weaker saying. That one's a weaker saying. So then, the stronger saying is that this is ma al-masdariyah, a particle, not a nominal. Then he has this part I need to review now. So I'm going into this one cold here. وَأَمَّا لَمَّا فَإِنَّهَا فِي الْعَرَبِيَّةِ عَلَى ثَلَاثَةِ أَقْسَامٍ. And concerning lamma, it is indeed in Arabic having three categories. Yani there's three of them. One, al-wahid, nafiyatun bimanzilati lam. There's a lamma that's a negating particle, and it means similar to lam. It basically means though yet. So this one means yet, not yet. Means not yet. Lamma, when it's a negating particle, means not yet. So up until now, it's being negated. نحو لما يقض ما أمره أي لم يقض ما أمره. So here's an example of that in the Quran that's in Surah Abath. We're going to start Surah Abath tomorrow, inshallah, the tafsir. لما يقض ما أمره. The human, the kafir human, has not yet fulfilled what he was commanded. The blasphemous human, لما يقض, has not yet fulfilled ما أمره, what his Lord commanded. أي لم يقض ما أمره, meaning he didn't do it yet. وإيجابية بمعنى إلا نحو قولهم عزمت عليك لما فعلت كذا أي إلا فعلت كذا أي ما أطلب منك إلا فعل كذا. Then there's also lamma that's affirmative. So ijabiyya means affirmative, not negative, not denying. Affirmative. And it means accept or but. So how would you affirm like that? You bring a negation first, and then you say illa, or you say lamma with the meaning of illa. So he gave an example. نحو قولهم عزمت عليك لما فعلت كذا أي ما أطلب منك إلا فعل كذا. So this statement means I have not demanded of you but such and such. So that lamma means but right there. That basically means but. But for affirming. I haven't done but good to you. I have not been but good to you, for example. So you're confirming. وهي في هذين القسمين حرف باتفاق. In these two cases, إلا is a particle by consensus, by agreement. والثالث أن تكون رابطة. And the third case of lamma is to be a link, a connector. لوجود شيء بوجود غيره. يعني it is a link. يعني it indicates the existence of something because of something else. It proves the existence of something because of something else. نحو, for example, لما جاءني أكرمته. لما جاءني أكرمته. When he came to me, I was hospitable to him. So it linked the coming to the hospitality. فإنها ربطت وجود الإكرام بوجود المجيء. In this case, لما tied the hospitality, the existence of the hospitality to the existence of the coming or the approach, the arrival. واختلف في هذه. There's a difference in opinion about this one. فقال سيبويه, Imam Sibawayh said, إنها حرف وجود لوجود. Indeed, it is a particle that indicates the existence of something due to the existence of something else. وقال الفارسي وجماعة. And Al-Farisi and others, a group of scholars, said إنها ظرف بمعنى حين. Indeed, it is a pocket of time. It's not a connecting particle. It's a pocket of time. It means when. حين, or time. ورد بقوله تعالى فلما قضينا عليه الموت. وذلك أنها لو كانت ظرفا لاحتاجت إلى عامل يعمل في محلها النصب. وذلك العامل إما قضينا أو دلهم إذ ليس معنا سواهما وكون العامل قضينا مردود بأن القائلين بأنها اسم يزعمون أنها مضافة إلى ما يليها والمضاف إليه لا يعمل في المضاف وكون العامل دلهم مردود بأن من نافية لا يعمل ما بعدها فيما قبلها وإذا بطل أن يكون لها عامل تعين ألا موضع لها من الإعراب وذلك يقتضي الحرفية. Okay. All of what he just said there, what he's saying is, if lamma were a pocket of time, if it were a zarf, then it would need something. It would need the meaning of a verb to come upon it to make it a pocket of time. We're going to see when we get to the chapter of Huroof if Allah enables us. If we finish this Qatrun Nada, you will have taken a nice chunk of rules of Arabic language. You have taken a hefty and nurturing chunk. So he's saying, if this were like that, then it would need a verb. I'm paraphrasing here. It would need a verb to put it into that meaning of being a pocket of time. And he's saying, but if you look at this ayah and what's around it and what's in it, there's nothing like that. So therefore, that's a wrong saying. That saying's rejected. That's a rejected saying. And the right saying is that this is merely a particle. This is a particle for linking the existence of something to the existence of something else. So I paraphrase that for you. He says, Sad asl, original text, وَجَمِيعُ الْحُرُوفِ مَبْنِيَّةٌ. All of the particles are cemented, built with a static ending. You know what that means. So there's no particle that takes i'rab, going from dhamma to fatha to kasra, etc. الشرح, the explanation. لما فرغت من ذكر علامات الحرف. When I finished discussing the identifiers of the particle, وبيان ما اختلف فيه منه. And when I finished clarifying what they differed about concerning the particle, ذكرت حكمه. Then I mentioned its judgment, its syntactical judgment. وأنه مبني, which is that it is built, static ending, cemented. Every harf, whatever type of harf it is, there's so many types. You have conjuncting particles, prepositional particles, conditional particles, so many types of particles. Negating particles and interrogative particles and all sorts of things. All of them have static ending without exception. لا حظ لشيء من كلماته في الإعراب. Not a single word that's a particle has any share of having a variable ending, of having i'rab. Wallahu a'lam. We finished the whole chapter on particles, mashallah, that Ibn Hisham wanted to give us. And mashallah, most of you stayed in the session, so that's great. Do you have any question?